Now today we're looking at the Gold Goblins, or the Goblin V2 playing cards. This is an absolutely gorgeous card issue deck and I cannot wait to show it to you. So if you like playing cards, this is the channel for you. Every single Wednesday I upload a new review. So subscribe and ring the bell so you can get notified when all these videos drop. And if you want this deck right here, you can get it for 10% off in the description below. But enough talking, let's get into this review right now. Now first, let's take a look at the tuck box. It is a really cool black and gold wraparound design. The gold is a little bit more brownish gold, but it does look really good, and if you have 4 decks, it looks amazing. When it comes to the tuck seal, you'll see this skull here. I have already broken the seal because I had to see what the cards look like so I could do the review. On the bottom here, it does say Goblin, and on the bottom is some Gemini Casino ad copy. Now besides that, on the inside of the tuck box, there's nothing in here. So, super simple tuck box, not simple cards. Let's take a look at them. First, let's start with the back design. The back design is exactly what you would expect from Gemini Casino when it comes to their absolutely gorgeous cards, right? Gemini playing cards comes up with amazing designs. It looks just like the greens, except for the green is now gold, right? Absolutely gorgeous deck. Super gorgeous, and is a two-way design. I have not found anything that proves otherwise. So super gorgeous, borderless design, so fans are going to look great both ways, and I'll get more into how it looks when fanning and everything else a little bit later in the video. So when you're actually looking at the tuck box, it's just this on a wraparound design. Pretty cool. Now let's take a look at the faces. You're going to have completely custom faces with a black cardstock. You do have custom pips inside, so you'll have the back design, a little bit of it inside each of the pips with a little thin white border on all of them. You have the actual value and indices done in the same gold. It is going to be standard though when it comes to the font. And then you have, with the black cardstock, you do have these white and gold little bands on these 4 points. So the 2 corners opposite the values, and then on the 2 sides here, which will make fanning look great. Both ways, actually. So no matter which way you're fanning this deck, when it comes to it, is going to look fantastic. But I'll get more into that again in a second. So again, it looks great. These are what the hearts look like, and they're all going to be standard when it comes to USPCC. Those are your clubs. So basically at this point I'm just showing you what the individualized custom pips look like. Those are your diamonds, and then your hearts look like that. Now your 3 aces have been slightly enlarged, not by much, but they have been a little bit, which does give it a little bit more flair, which I do love. Now your court cards are technically done standard when it comes to bicycle standard, but it has all been redone to match this theme. So it's all done in the white, gold, and black. So you'll not see anything out of the ordinary when it comes to these cards, except for the fact that they have been recolored. Now you have duplicate jokers with the same skull that you saw on the tuck seal. Again, super good looking. Both say Goblin in the corner right there. Again, absolutely gorgeous. Now your ad cards are really funky as well. The first one is going to be just a Gemini Casino ad card with the back design on the face, just a little bit smaller. Now the other one is probably one of my favorites when it comes to, honestly, it might be my favorite Gemini Casino ad card. Now the only other one I think compares to this is the oblique playing cards, but this one is absolutely gorgeous. It's just a really cool art card that you can just use to hang up. Just looks really dope. And then of course your ace of spades. This time it is actually breaking the border, which I do think is pretty cool, and it says Goblin right there in the center. So outside of that, can't really say much for this deck, except for all the stuff that I haven't said so far. So let's get into that. Now the first thing you'll want to know is if this deck can Farrow. There's a lot of card moves that include Farrowing, so let's see if this deck can do it from first top to bottom. And although it's not perfect, it does work extremely well. So I'll give it a 8 out of 10 for Farrowing from top to bottom. And then from bottom to top, that is a 10 out of 10. That was like butter. Oh my word. Yeah, you can hear that sound and know that was a 10 out of 10. So outside of that, let's see how this deck fans both ways. So that is a fan on from my left hand, and then on my right hand it's going to look like that. So it's definitely more lenient toward your left hand when it comes to fanning on the back design. This is your face fan, so you do get that cigar band there with the one on the side, and then with the other side you get the cigar band, except for this time it's on the outside, which again looks really cool. So clearly fanning is going to look good in this deck, but outside of looking good and farrowing really well, can this deck be handled well? So first of all, what's it feel like, right? If you pick up this deck, clearly I can't just hand it to you so you can feel what it feels like. Like, is it thick? Is it thin? Does it handle well? Is it stiff? Is it buttery? What does it feel like? So this is my points where I can tell you that, because I'm the reviewer and I can do what I want to. You're welcome. So when it comes to how thick it is, it's a middle of the line. It's not crazy thick. It's not crazy thin. It just pretty much center of the line. It's USPCC. Feels gorgeous, right? Now when it actually comes to how it feels, there's a few ways that I describe it. So you have the more buttery feel, which is where you can perform under pressure and not get a hand cramp, and it just glides super nicely. So that would be under pressure, and if you want to learn that move, I will leave it in the description so you can learn it. And now outside of that, does it super snappy where you're trying to perform something like Hot Shot, right? Now if you don't know Hot Shot looks like this. Right, so that is Hot Shot. You can actually get a spin out of the deck. Super cool looking move, and you do need a bit of more of a snappy deck for that to happen, to be able to do it accurately, right? Then you have stiff cards where you can't really bend them at all, which those cards suck. So where does this deck stand? I think it has a good mix of both buttery and snappy, but this one's pretty much just middle of the line, right? Some decks have both, some decks have neither. Some decks are just a little bit of both, which is where I'd put this one. You have a little bit of buttery, you have a little bit of snappy. It's a good mix. So if you're wanting to do moves on either side, it'll still work. Now outside of that, who should buy this deck? There are definitely people who should, and definitely people who should not. So depending on what kind of person you are, that'll tell me everything. So first of all, are you a magician? If you're a magician, don't dabble in anything else, I wouldn't pick this deck up. First of all, back design, not meant for magicians. Faces, too custom, not for magicians. It's just not a magic deck. Don't even bother. If you are a cardist, 100% pick this deck up. Back design is borderless and looks great when fanning and doing packet cuts, so everything will look great there. When it comes to the faces, they're all custom. Again, it'll look great when fanning, both ways, both one way and the other. It's a gorgeous deck. It's in gold, black, and white, so those colors don't really fit for anything else but really cardistry, right? If you're a cardist, pick this deck up. If you're a collector, I think it depends on what kind of collector you are. If you're a collector who likes things that are more expensive or rare, this probably isn't your deck. It's Gemini deck, right? So they're not really expensive, they're not extremely rare, it's just a gorgeous deck. So if you like decks that look cool on a shelf, if you just like to collect all of Gemini playing cards, or all borderless decks, all gold decks, or all cardistry decks, that would be something along the lines. If you like collecting a series of things, like the things I just named, then now you're talking. If you just like collecting the Gemini Goblins decks, then if you're wanting a series like that, or just a deck that looks cool to hang up, to put someplace like this, that would be a collector's deck that you would want. Now, just a little bit of a warning with this deck when it comes to this, since it does have black faces, you will see the dings a lot faster than if it had white faces. So just fair warning, if you are performing cardistry or magic for whatever reason, or doing anything where you're putting a lot of work and a lot of use with this deck, you will see it wear out a lot faster, even if you haven't really worn it more than your other decks. Now, does it really work for gameplay? Not really. I mean, you could technically use it. One, I wouldn't want to because I don't like people messing with my nice cards. And number two, it's really detailed. So if someone's looking through it really quick, they might not be able to see what it is, if they're looking at a court card or whatever. But the values and indices and pips are all standard for the most part. So if you're just playing a game, I think you could make it work if you're playing with people who know what they're doing. Is it a hype deck? No. A lot of intentionality. Looks gorgeous. So that is my review of the Gemini Goblins V2 Gold Edition. If you want to check it out again, I'll leave it in the description below for 10% off. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is Card Perfect, signing off.